Welcome back, Dr. Ravindra. You have often spoken of urban poverty and how it should get immediate focus. What advice have you given to the government to deal with it?
As I said, urban poverty alleviation is now a part of our urban development policy once it comes into being. So, we have looked at urban poverty in different dimensions. The most visible aspect of poverty will be the slums, because we think people living in slums, it is both environmentally very unfriendly, unsanitary and so on. And naturally, living in slum itself is below one's dignity. So, improving the living conditions. So, there should be no more slums that way, no huts of that sort, but the housing should be at least able to satisfy the minimum requirements of living. So, new constructions are being made. For instance, even the Slum Clearance Board has taken up construction of multi-story dwellings. So, for instance, along Mysore Road, there is a very big project coming up. Near Yelahanka, another project coming up. So, there are some projects which are aimed at providing better housing to the poor. That is one aspect. The second is that it is not merely housing. We need to look at the other social aspects, employment, health, education. So, we have said you should focus on the educational aspects. For instance, if the children at least now they get educated and they are able to find better employment, so automatically slums, they will not live in slums, they will choose better living conditions. Similarly, the health conditions, especially of the women, etc. So, there is need for us focus on the health of the urban poor. So, this is another thing, So, it is a kind of an integrated approach to reduce urban poverty. The BBMP, not only the BBMP, for instance, the government of India itself has made an announcement called saying that we want slum-free cities. And they have announced also, there is a program called RAY, that is Rajiv Awas Yojana, which is supposed to bring about this. But still, as I said, money has really to flow, and then it will take some time. But one need not wait for that. This is one of the things when we are speaking about coordination. See, there is no one agency really addressing urban poverty as such. Slum Clearance Board may address only the question of slum rehabilitation. We build another, multi-story building, shift them there. But in terms of poverty as such, see, the main thing is employment. For instance, people living on the streets, street vendors. So they may, even if they live in a better place, they are pushed about here and there. How to solve their problem? These are not very easy. There are clashes. You need to find space. Urban space is another major area. That's why I speak about spatial development. So providing urban space to different sections of society, I would say that is the most challenging aspect of urbanization. And because the inequalities have also increased. The inequalities and iniquities are one of the most shameful aspects of our development process, I would say. So, we need to bridge the gap, and that is not merely government, that is a process of improving living standards, employment. So, all that has to fall in place.
Talking about the homeless, what you spoke about just now, the government had promised night shelters for the homeless in Bangalore. It also spoke of a community kitchen at each of these night centers to provide food. Had they been built? Is there any progress on that?
I remember some time back, when even I was commissioner, we were trying to build some night shelters along with some NGOs and all that. Some attempts were made. There are some kind of night shelters, but I must say I don't think systematically we have really tried to address that problem. But very recently in Mysore, they have taken it up in a more focused way, and they have identified all the people without shelters during the nights, and they have built some places where they are providing those shelters. In Mysore, I think it has made a headway, but in Bangalore, I must admit, probably it has not made.
I don't think we find any shelters so far. Dr. Ravindra, the government had undertaken a program for slum mapping in the state. Has it been completed? If yes, what are the findings? You have any idea?
No, slum mapping is still not complete. Actually, what has happened is there is a very good initiative already taken by the Directorate of Municipal Administration on this slum mapping. First, they are collecting all the data, the survey. See, that itself is a big job, big process, which has not been done in the past. See, there have been some surveys now and then, but it's not done comprehensively. So, this is a very good attempt, that I must say. They have made quite some progress, but it should take another year to be completed.
Any plans to relocate the slums?
Yeah,
out
as I
of
said,
Bangalore?
there are two things, when we say about a slum redevelopment. One is to what is called in situ development. That is, you don't shift them from that place. See, there is a lot of resistance to shifting also. So as far as possible, wherever possible, if that place is otherwise, all right, they are temporarily shifted somewhere, and houses are built in the same location. So that is called in situ development. That is the preferred mode of rehabilitating slum dwellers. There are also new locations identified. As I said, wherever land particularly is available. Along Mysore Road, we said some 1,000, 2,000 houses will come up. Similarly, on the outskirts, because in the city it is difficult to find a lot of land. Here again, let me repeat what I was saying earlier about the corporate sector or whatever. Earlier, when I also made a lot of attempts, one experiment also we tried to bring in PPP so that, they are able to contribute in providing housing to the poor. But somehow that didn't really click, because they again want to bigger buildings or a larger chunk in order to, make a profit and all that, There needs to be something without profit motive also, social projects, etc.
Yes.
So, both are going on, in situ development as well as relocation.